Had some thoughts today on what it's like when you feel seen in a community or in a setting, especially as an INFJ. It can be really, I don't want to say like isolating, because I mean, you're talking to people, but people aren't really like where you are. For example, I often use the metaphor of like looking at life through like a two-way window, and you're behind and looking at life through this window, and you can see what's going on, but you're not like really able to interact with the absurdity of it all, because one, you probably don't want to, and two, you just feel like there's just something in between you and really making a valid connection with said people or group. And when you find your people, when your people find you, it's almost like someone else comes in from behind you and they're like, hey, what are you looking at? And they're in the same room as you, and you're like, oh, I'm looking at that thing over there, and they're like, oh yeah, I see it, it's a mess, isn't it? And it's like a mental click. And so I was fortunate enough to find a friend like this many years ago, on our first day of working at a school together. But very rarely do we find these types of connections. And so my message to you is, if you find them, make sure that you're doing everything that you can to nurture, foster, and continue to grow them, because the chances of you finding many of them are not likely.